Good evening. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know this is not what we had hoped and planned for, but we are honored to be able to celebrate you. My name is Carrie Hollyfield, and I serve as the president of the Royse City ISD Education Foundation Board of Directors. Part of the mission of the Royse City ISD Education Foundation is to celebrate the successes of the students and staff of the district through appreciation programs. The Top Dog Spectacular began with the class of 2010. Each top dog tonight joins an elite group of graduates who positively impacted their school and community. Thank you to the educators, parents, and family members who have helped shape you into the young adults you are today. This event and the $850,000 that has been granted to classrooms and special projects since 2009 would not be possible without the generosity of the Education Foundation donors. There are some business partners and family members who graciously donated towards this special event. Their original donations would have paid for the event. Instead, though, they elected for their dollars to be sent directly to the top dogs in the form of gift cards. You should have already received those. The 2020 Top Dog sponsors are Thank you again to our generous donors. Now please help me welcome our superintendent, Mr. Kevin Worthy.
Hey Top Dogs, we are so proud of you. We are thankful for your impact on others, and I'm also proud of your loved ones as they have no doubt supported you throughout your school years. You know, being a top dog is significant. I want you to please take a moment to remember that our educators nominated you for this honor, and your merit and your hearts ultimately led to this selection. I hope you enjoy this virtual Top Dog celebration, and I want to thank the Education Foundation for putting this together. This is a special event. Now let's hear from Executive Director Kim Crumrine and get started with this celebration.
First, I just want to tell you how proud I am to be a Bulldog. You have all had to overcome a lot of struggles and disappointments the last few months, but you have handled it with grace. We are so proud of you. Now it is my honor to recognize our 2020 scholarship winners. Each of these scholarships have been set up through the RCISD Education Foundation and awarded annually to RCHS graduating seniors to aid in their higher education. We were honored to be able to make a surprise visit to each of their homes recently. Let's take a look. Congratulations to all of the scholarship winners, and thank you to the families and organizations who set those up. At this time, it is our honor to recognize the top dogs of the class of 2020 and their influential educators.
Miss Culp has helped me in the hardest times of my life. Thank you for everything that you do for me. I love you, Miss Culp.
It all started in 6th grade, going into percussion class for the first time. This guy with the bow tie, Mr. Ross, was there and had us sit in a circle and say our name plus an animal that started with the same letter. I quietly uttered, Lion Lily. Actually, it was kind of ironic considering I rarely spoke to anyone. But going on to middle school, I was the same stone-cold kid, but I eventually figured out how to express myself with music and fell in love with percussion, with the aid of Mr. Ross. Then high school hit me like an 18-wheeler on ice, but first period in the pack was a glitch in that matrix. That place became my home, and my classmates and Mr. Ross were my family. The endless stories he would tell and countless inside jokes come to life in the pack. We all looked forward to hearing his quiet good mornings way too early in the day and his final, I love you all but go home, way too late at night. Mr. Ross, I want you to know that who I am today has everything to do with who you are. So thank you for helping me become Lion Lily and for being such a huge part of my life.
When Taylor Young came back to Royse City to be a coach, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I was excited to actually get to know her because I only knew her as the daughter of my mom's best friend. It's safe to say that over the last few years we have spent a lot of time together, with her being my basketball coach and working closely with her as a manager, which brought us to form an unforgettable bond. Taylor likes to carry herself with confidence and a tough exterior, but in actuality, she has the biggest heart of any person I have ever met. She has made a huge impact in so many aspects of my life with her enthusiasm and sass, and is truly always there for me. If I'm ever being irrational, I can count on her to call me out. She is always there to celebrate my successes, especially when I got into UGA, and helps pick me back up when I fail. Even though she calls me the worst dusek every chance she gets, I know I'm her favorite dusek. Taylor Young is not only my top dog educator, she is my mentor and friend.
Mr. Webb taught me discipline and how to overcome pressure and nerves. Through a mixture of high expectations as well as reasonable goals, he inspired me to work harder and try to do better. He always wants the students in his band to prepare for each day like there's a test that day, which there usually was. The breakneck pace of these tests, however, did not cause us students to throw our hands in the air and carefully set our instruments on the ground before we stormed away furiously. No, they inspired us to get better and prepare more so that the next test would be different. From the beginning of my high school career, Mr. Webb had high expectations about what I could do in band. He wasn't too subtle about them. I remember his critiques my freshman year, but back then I didn't know why he was so precise about my performance. Now, 4 years later, I see that all his critiques and all his comments about how I could be better, all of them were intended to make me a better musician, and all of them, whether by accident or by planning, taught me the value of perseverance and confidence in myself and in my abilities, and I'll always be thankful for that.
In the past 2 years that I've gotten to know Mr. Brown, he has been a mentor, an anchor, and as everyone calls him, a school dad to me. Mr. Brown always seems to know just what people need and what will brighten their day. Not only does he take time out of his busy day to check on me, but he also makes sure to push me to the best of my ability. His advice and words of encouragement have kept me on my feet more than once throughout this year, but most importantly, his supportive words have built my character and work ethic. From searching for scholarships to writing several recommendation letters, Mr. Brown has done it all. I don't think he knows how much RCHS students depend on him, but to know that he has me in mind is something I'm grateful for. So, from the bottom of my heart, Mr. Brown, thank you for your generous deeds and for always putting a smile on my face every day.
I am very fortunate to say that Mrs. Sarah Overton has been my most influential teacher through my high school years. She has truly been a blessing in my life and during my time here at RCHS. I have been dancing my whole life, however, due to moving around for my parents' jobs and changing studios several times, I lost my passion for it. I never realized how much I truly missed dance until I walked into Mrs. Overton's room. She helped me to reignite my passion for dance and has taught me how to do things in the art form that I never thought I would be able to do. She encourages me to be positive and is always there for me through thick and thin with a listening ear and solid words of advice. She is always available when I need her, even if I'm being a little too sassy and dramatic. She is kind, caring, and compassionate and has a great love for her students and what she does. She reminds me to be confident in who I am as a person and as a dancer. She has inspired me in more ways than I could ever express, and I couldn't be more grateful for her. Thank you so much, Mrs. Overton, for the influence you are in my life. Love, Emily Grace.
When I was selected as top dog, I knew right away I wanted to pick Miss Gonzalez as my influential educator. Even though I only had her for 1 year, the impact she had on me was huge. She is the kind of teacher to always invest so much in her students, to encourage them and build them up, and I had so many incredible opportunities my senior year thanks to her. I'm so thankful for this year that I've shared with her, and I'm very thankful that she's been able to resurrect my debate team and give me something to look forward to coming back to. I'm so proud to have had her as my debate coach, and I really just couldn't appreciate her enough. Thank you so much, Ms. Gonzalez.
Wow, Ms. Crumnow, I can't believe it. We are finally at the end of this road, and I don't want to say goodbye to you. I never expected it to end like this, but that is life, and if I learned anything from you, it is to shake it off and keep moving forward. My senior year has thrown so many things at me, and honestly, I don't know if I could handle it without your guidance. On a lighter note, you've had all three of the Gonzaleses, and I know who your favorite is. Me! No need for second thought or any decision, because the truth is clear. Me. I know this because you have told me, but also the fact that you're my favorite. I remember my sophomore year, when I was just a new student to you, I always asked you how your day was. And afterwards, I would always respond with, I want to be your Beacon Award. You have always accepted me for me and never ever let me down. No matter what, you always supported me, and I cannot thank you enough.
I have had many teachers in my life that have impacted me in a tremendous way, but one man has found a way into my life like none other. Nearing the end of my junior year, I was told that I would be getting a new percussion director. This came as an extreme shock to me, seeing that I have had the same percussion director for the past 6 years. I had no clue what to expect of Mr. Pickle. I was worried that my senior year was going to be ruined. I met Mr. Pickle for the first time during our summer percussion camp. It was going much better than I thought it would. I'm sure we were a lot to handle at first with all of our crazy traditions, such as our annual water balloon fight. At the end of our percussion camp, after the water balloon fight, I realized that Mr. Pickle was going to make my senior year the best senior year I could have ever asked for. Marching season went really great. I will never forget the group circles that we would have during competitions to talk about how much we appreciate everyone in the RCP family, now including our newest family member, Mr. Pickle. There were many tears of joy shed in those circles thanks to Mr. Pickle and the loving, caring nature that he shows towards his students. Thank you, Mr. Pickle, for proving me wrong. Thank you for the best senior year.
Miss Martha has been an anchor to me on the days that I feel like the world is crushing me with my personal problems. When I feel so anxious about the future, she is there to reassure me that everything is in God's hands and will be okay. She encourages me with kind words when I feel down. Her warm, caring smile is able to brighten the room and my day just by walking into her office. Whenever I go talk to Miss Martha, she is attentive regardless of how busy I know she is. She makes me feel like I am being listened, understood, and loved. Not only has she helped me emotionally, she has also helped me academically. Since I am a first-generation student going to college in my family, I don't know how to do much when it comes to college. Miss Martha has helped me by giving me advice on how to fill out some FAFSA questions, been my letter of recommendations on multiple occasions, and has given me suggestions on what to do in the future, whether that is on how to emotionally prepare for the separation from my family, to how to physically start preparing and packing items to take to college. Just by spending time together and listening to her advice and stories, it feels like she isn't just a teacher I look up to, but a friend and a mentor who will always be remembered in the future.
I had Miss McCauley my junior year of high school, which was an incredibly difficult year. She teaches forensic science, and I had her 5th period every day. Her class was easily the coolest class I've ever had. While the content was fun, her efforts as a teacher are what made it so memorable. Her class actually made me want to study psychology, which is what I'll be majoring in next fall. I was one of the 2 juniors in the senior-filled class, and she always went out of her way to make us feel involved. On the days seniors were gone for meetings, she would bring snacks and set up a playlist and talk to us about our lives and college plans. I ended up looking forward to those days the most. There were days that were so tough and I felt so alone at school, and she always made sure to check up with me. Every time I would swing by to say hi my senior year, she always seemed so excited to see me and remembered things I told her over a year ago. Her kindness and inclusivity has left such a positive impact on me, and I'm so grateful she's a part of my life. Anyone who has her as a teacher is incredibly lucky.
Miss Cernisek is the greatest teacher I've ever had. She goes above and beyond other teachers, showing that she truly cares not only about her students' educations, but their lives. She is fun in class, understanding about grades, and truly a model teacher. Whenever I would struggle in calculus, she would always be there to help me work through my problems, giving me the help I needed and encouraging me all the while. When we felt like we weren't grasping concepts in computer science due to the online nature of the course, she would get up and teach us on the whiteboard. All of this goes to show that when it comes to going the extra mile, Ms. Cernisek is dedicated to making it happen.
Mr. Fullwood is a teacher that I've had for 6 years or so. I have always enjoyed being in class with Mr. Fullwood because he makes the class a bit more fun than band could be. I've always found it really fun when I'd go into his office to hang out and play Mortal Kombat or Mario Kart with him at the end of the school day. In several cases, I've gone into his office for advice, and he has never failed to understand the situation and provide me with some good advice for my problem. I've always enjoyed the time I spent around Mr. Fullwood, and I'd like to thank him for a great 6-year total and a great 4 years of high school. Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Mrs. Haynes has played an encouraging role to my work and myself for the past 2 years. She had always made a point to spread positive feedback through her grading essays, something I've always struggled with years in the past, and positive thoughts towards future goals of mine. Not many teachers have allowed me to feel as safe to speak up to or look up to as Mrs. Haynes does, and she continues to show this positivity and encouragement to me even when I've moved on past her class.
I'm not going to lie, our relationship wasn't always as strong as it is today. Going into kindergarten, I was determined to have fun, and that was it. Who needs to learn when you can color all day? So when she expected me to actually do my work, I decided to tell her, I don't like you very much. She responded with, that's okay, now do your work. I guess she grew on me from that moment because even after graduating kindergarten, I found myself gravitating back to her. Whether it was homework help, making my birthday cakes, or fashion advice, she was always there. Fast forward to my senior year. She is still the same person. Her crazy, fun-filled, no-nonsense attitude makes for the best memories and experiences possible. Being a teacher is much more than writing lesson plans and teaching curriculum. It's also about the relationships and impacts they make on their students. Thank you, Miss Arnold, for always pushing me to do my best, and then even better than that. I'm so thankful I was placed into your first kindergarten class 7 years ago. I definitely would not be the person I am today without your constant presence in my life. You are much more than a past teacher to me. You are a mentor, a role model, and a second mom. I love you, Miss Arnold. Thank you for being my favorite person.
Mrs. Watson came into a difficult position, picking up where another amazing teacher left off. It was probably hardest for the seniors to accept the fact that we were losing an educator that meant and still means so much to us. But the moment we met Mrs. Watson, all our fears about the new year went away. We all learned and grew together, we taught ourselves how to do a few things, and we got the chance to make the class what we wanted, all thanks to her. The 6 of us are like a family now, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm so thankful for everything we've all been through together, and everything that she's taught me. Good luck with the laminator next year. I'm glad I'm no longer the only one in the building who knows how to work it. And finally, thank you for teaching me what it means to be a good educator, allowing yourself to be taught as well, and learning alongside your students shamelessly. I wouldn't be the person I am or the teacher I hope to be without you. Thank you for everything.
The beginning of senior year was really hard on me. Without even really knowing me, Mrs. Lupercio gave me a place to feel safe and loved. As her office aide, I have seen her work hard at her job, but I've also seen the compassion she has for her students. She is willing to listen, and she listens to understand. Not only is Mrs. Lupercio compassionate, but she cheers on her students like none other and believes in them so deeply. Thank you, Mrs. Lupercio, for giving me so many things to learn from, even if your teaching didn't come from a traditional classroom. You taught me to be patient with others, you taught me the power of simply listening to others, and you taught me to go after what I want. I will forever cherish the lessons I learned in simply seeing how you live your life and how you treat others.
Mr. Ron made me the student I am today because he laid the foundation for my curiosity and love of learning. He showed me from the very first day of kindergarten that learning was fun, school mattered, and just how amazing teachers can be. To everything he taught, he added his own personal twist and a little bit of flavor. There was not a dull moment in his class. He always encouraged our inquisitive 5-year-old natures and designed experiences to spark our creativity. Our strange ideas and crazy questions were praised and celebrated, and Mr. Ron always had an answer. Sometimes his answers were more outlandish than the questions. When I struggled to focus during class or stay on task, Mr. Ron was understanding and took the time to make a personal connection to help me. He discovered our shared love of Star Wars and utilized it as a way to encourage me to behave. He showed me that teachers truly care about their students by the way that he invested in me. Even after I moved to first grade and beyond, he kept in touch and checked on my success. Thank you, Mr. Ron, for the lasting impact you've made on my life. And I'll always remember your words of wisdom. No cuts, no butts, no coconuts.
High school is a time of self-exploration for teenagers. We are faced with many obstacles that shape us into who we are. Despite the ups and downs I experienced during my journey, there was one constant that helped pick me back up when I needed it most. Miss Jones is the most loving, caring, and humble adult I know. I have been able to flourish under her instruction both educationally and in other areas of my life. In the inviting classroom environment she has created, I am able to truly be myself without fear of judgment. Some students are only lucky enough to spend a year with an influential educator, but I've had the privilege of having Miss Jones throughout all 4 years of high school, and I am positive she will continue to influence me after graduation. The long-lasting impact she has placed on my heart is unforgettable. A true influential educator's impact is beyond the classroom. Being a teacher is doing more than teaching curriculum. It's teaching you how to live. I've been taught many life lessons from Miss Jones that help steer my life in a direction I am proud of. Saying goodbye to Miss Jones as a teacher is going to be one of the hardest goodbyes. She will remain an inspiration to me, and I'm looking forward to see how our relationship will grow in the future.
My influential educator is Miss Hayes. She has been with me through the majority of my educational career. She has sparked my interest in music, and she always pushed me to be the best version of myself. Through my intermediate and middle school years, I always look forward to her class, not only because of my love of music, but also for her teaching. She has taught me kindness, patience, optimism, and determination. She shows every student she comes into contact with respect and kindness. Even if a student gives up on themselves, she never gives up on them. Ms. Hayes can see qualities in students that they can't even see in themselves. It's clear that she is truly passionate about her students, and she wants them to succeed. Through the 7 years I've known Ms. Hayes, she has instilled qualities in me that will help me as I go through the world, and that will be with me through the rest of my life. I would not be the person and musician I am today without her mentoring me through the years. So I'd like to thank you, Ms. Hayes. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I admire you as a person and teacher. You have influenced more lives than you know, and you will influence and inspire many more through the rest of your life. Thank you.
Miss Royse is an extraordinary person. She inspires every student that walks into her classroom because she radiates pure joy and love. One of my favorite things about her is she gets intensely excited about the topic of discussion and will often begin to go on and on about it before realizing we don't understand a single word she is saying, in which she realizes her mistake, laughs to herself, and then talks in a language we can understand. What she doesn't understand, however, is that it was not a mistake at all. In fact, the complete opposite. Her love of biology and knowledge is inspiring and powerful. Miss Royse could put the smartest kids to shame, but instead chooses to cultivate an environment where our questions are praised and success, even in the smallest measure, is celebrated. She not only loves biology, but loves each person individually. Every day she takes time out of class to listen to our good things, where Nick talks about his dogs and the class begs for bubbles. She listens, asks questions, and remembers the little things we say. To us, that means the world. She makes the individual feel loved, and in turn, we are more dedicated to learning what she loves. Miss Royse has not only impacted my education, but inspires me to be the best I can at things I love. With the utmost respect and admiration, thank you, Miss Royse.
Ms. Dyke has made a huge impact on me in the past 2 years. Ms. Dyke is the one who encouraged me to push myself and keep going when I'd much rather quit. The one who would laugh at all my crazy jokes and stories, help me out with navigating the ins and outs of senior year, and most of all, she's become one of my best friends. From contests to convention to shows, Ms. D has always been there to guide me and make me laugh. Not a trip goes by when I don't ask her to go adventuring with me and look into the shops nearby, and every time she is more than willing to go with me. Before meeting Miss D, I wasn't very motivated to put myself out there and try new things with new people. I'd much rather hang out by myself or with one or two friends. She pushed me to meet others, to interact with new people, and to put myself out there, a lesson I will use for the rest of my life. Miss D has pushed me through my sad times and celebrated with me in all my good times. High school wouldn't be the same without someone as amazing and influential as Miss D. Thank you for all you've done for me.
From the beginning of my freshman year, Coach K always took the time to get to know me more than just a player or what my athletic abilities showed day in and day out. Coach has always taken the extra steps to get to know me for who I am off the field. Through the countless practices, games, and tournaments, Coach K has not only coached me up to be a better player, but has taught me the value in being a teammate and a better individual off the field. For the past 4 years, Coach has influenced me to give my all in everything that I do, from academics, in the community, and on the field. He has encouraged me to always be and do my best and to never give up. Throughout his many stories that he tells countless times, I have learned more about being a better person than I thought I would ever experience from someone. I am so lucky and grateful to have a coach like you, and I can't wait to take all the lessons that you have taught me with me to Kansas. Thank you for the time that you have invested in me and my development. I would not be where I am today without you. While our 4 years may be up, I know you will take this team to great places. Thank you for never giving up on me, and I'm excited to see where softball will continue to take us. I'm beyond blessed to have a coach like you in my life.
Mrs. Tate made learning math fun. Every day she walked into the classroom excited and passionate about what she was teaching that day. Not only did she teach us how to find the slope of a line or what to shade on a graph, she taught us how to do life. She gave us life lessons that I will never forget, and she showed her students how to be strong, smart, caring, compassionate, and honest, all by being herself. She truly invested in each one of her students and made sure all of us knew that we are loved and valued. Coach Tate is the best motivational speaker I have ever heard. She knows how to get her athletes inspired and ready to work hard for her. She is an amazing coach and every single one of her players love her. She makes sure that every athlete knows that their individual role, no matter what it is important for the success of the team. Coach Tate never hesitates to share her wisdom to her players and is always there for each one of us when we need her. She has been there for me when I needed her most, and I don't know what I would do without her constant love and support of me. Not only is Mrs. Tate a great teacher and coach, but she's an even greater mom, and that speaks volume. I love you, Mom.
Mr. White has changed the way I think about the world. He believed in us and our potential. He poured into us. We went to all region and solo and ensemble and started doing well. Not only were we doing well that way, but we actually began to feel like a family. Through this, I've become more confident and sure of myself, and he's taught me so much about hard work and authenticity. I've grown because of all he's given. He exemplifies a true leader because of the way he speaks and the way that he teaches. Mr. White has fueled my passion for the arts and helped me achieve my goals, and yes, I've grown as a musician, but more importantly, I've grown as a person over these last 2 years. Mr. White has been a catalyst and a driving force for positive change in my life and in our choir as a whole. Thank you, Mr. White.
Mr. Wheatley has shaped me into the person I am today by encouraging me to reach the goals I have set for myself. He plays a part in every big decision I make, and he is one of my biggest supporters who always believes in me, even when I don't believe in myself. He's someone who I have always been able to come to with anything that's going on in my life, and I know that the advice he gives me is always for my well-being. He taught me that life isn't about how much you make or even about how hard you work. It's about the impact you leave on the people around you. I didn't choose him as my influential educator just because of the impact he's had on my life, but because of the impact he's also had on other students. Mr. Wheatley makes sure that students have a safe place when they might not have one anywhere else. He sees students as more than just the grade they make or the way they behave in class. He sees us for what we are. People. At the end of the day, we are people that make mistakes who are desperately in need of grace, and Mr. Wheatley sees that and shows us that learning from our mistakes is better than wallowing in failure. Thank you, Mr. Wheatley, for teaching me life lessons that I hope to pass on to every person I come into contact with.
Thank you again to our donors and sponsors who made this event possible. Even though we couldn't meet in person, they allowed us to provide awards for the educators, keepsake programs, and a gift card for each top dog. It is an honor for the RCISD Education Foundation to be able to honor academic achievement and influential educators. We know this year was a little different, but we hope you all enjoyed our virtual celebration. Top dogs, we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Educators, we look forward to being back together again soon. Thank you for watching.